everybody. Happy Wednesday evening to you. Hope you're doing well. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wentz in the comfort of home right now. We're working on this backdrop. I know I got a sad poster up there right now, but we are going to go to work on that and make a nice, cozy little studio here. It doesn't matter. Weather forecast remains the same. We're still dealing with lake effect snow here this evening that is pushing into northwest Indiana as expected. And we're going to see some of it add up over the next 24 hours. It's going to be a pretty quick hit here tonight and tomorrow for some of you. And then we're just talking cold for the rest of us. Kind of boring if you get outside of the snow belt. So let's talk about where the snow is right now. Generally speaking, we have some moderate snowfall bands that are moving in. Nothing is particularly organized right now. This is kind of going as expected. It's just a general snow shower activity right now where you get some decent flakes. It lets up, you get some decent flakes again. And again, not all of us are seeing it. So we're seeing it over towards LaPorte County. It gets over into the South Bend area. Plymouth seeing some pretty decent snow. You notice we have a little bit more organized activities. You got up into Southwest Lower Michigan. A couple of these bands are starting to get together now, but you notice the general motion over the last 3 or 4 hours or so is a little bit further down to the south. So that's everything kind of sinking our way. The wind has shifted to primarily out of the north out over the lake. So that will continue to shift these snow bands a little bit further off towards the west. So we're going to involve areas of Porter County. We're seeing some light flurries right now near Valpo, a little bit heavier activity. It's not heavy by any means, but a little bit heavier flurry activities to get out towards Westville, Michigan City, seeing some snowflakes as well. But again, the bulk of that right now is eastern areas of LaPorte County, then especially as you get out towards South Bend, where they've already picked up a coating to a couple inches, especially as you get up towards Berrien, Michigan and Berrien County, and you get up a little bit further north, even up towards Grand Rapids, seeing some snow right now. So I'm going to switch sources on you. So that's where the snow is right now. Again, this is going to continue to kind of pivot into northwest Indiana this evening and especially overnight tonight. So areas of LaPorte and Porter counties will be involved, I think, in the bulk of the snow bands as we see some additional development off the lake. So I'm going to stop the sharing of that right now. I'm going to share some of the modeling that we were talking about really yesterday is when we started on it. So let's get into this here. This should work just fine. There we go, technology. And I'm going to zoom in on this just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better for you here as we go through time. I think that's a little bit too much. All right. So here's what we're dealing with in terms of the modeling. We're going to look at two models tonight. Both of them I agree with. I think they've got a good handle on how this lake effect setup evolves. Again, in terms of lake effect setups, this is not the most robust lake effect event we're going to get, but we have some pretty decently cold air coming over a relatively warm lake water. So we've got plenty of instability where we can squeak out some pretty decent totals, and it is very light, fluffy snow as well. So that tends to add up very quickly versus a big snowstorm where you get the compacted snow. So this is the HRRR model, and I think it's got a great handle on the initialization of this. And you can see this is now, it's kind of bringing it into northwest Indiana, says the model, and I agree with that because that's happening. As we go through time, here's the thing that's going to cause the snow to add up, right? You get general snow shower activity. You can get a couple inches out of that, but it's this main band that models have been picking up on really over the last couple days that we've had our eyes on. And this main band would be a more organized area of heavy snow. It would be probably 5 to 10 miles wide at best. And it, again, once you get under that band, you know how it goes. You go from, not a whole lot going on to some serious snow. And we could certainly see up to 1 inch an hour snowfall rates within that if that were to work into northwest Indiana. So as we go through time, the HRRR kind of develops it overnight tonight, really over the next couple hours. So we'll have to see if that comes to fruition. But then with that northerly wind, you notice how it kind of bends it back in areas of LaPorte County. So we're now talking 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning that the HRRR model has the heavy snow band that develops into areas of LaPorte County, and it even swings it west into Porter County as we go through the morning rush hour. And then as we go through time, it kind of waffles that boundary out. It develops a new lake effect snow band out over the lake, and you can see LaPorte County kind of remains in play for that before everything kind of fizzles out and the wind will shift and push everything out over the lake. So how much snow are we talking with the HRRR model? Well, again, it's got some pretty decent totals, but I do kind of agree with this in terms of what we've been talking about the last 2 days. It's got some pretty decent totals in LaPorte County, upwards of 1 foot in spots. I can't rule that out if that snow band comes in. If not, I think a general 4 to 8 inches for LaPorte County. And that would favor areas further towards the lake, right? As we get down into Stark County, you're not in that winter weather advisory. I thought we'd be able to squeeze out a little bit more in Stark County. I think some of these numbers are a little bit underdone on all the models. So I think a couple inches in Stark County, but really LaPorte County still stands to be the bullseye with this. And this is a pretty quick event. This is going to go just really through tomorrow afternoon and evening before it starts to wind down. And the bulk of that's going to be tonight and tomorrow morning for that rush hour. So the HRRR model's squeezing out upwards of a foot. Not everyone's going to see a foot of snow. We'll probably have, you know how it varies from house to house, but we'll probably have a lot of totals in the 4, 5, maybe 6 inch range, and then a couple sweet spots. If we get that band in here, could get up over 8 inches. We'll just say that. You notice the higher totals up towards Berrien County. And then in Porter County itself, Valpo checking in on the HRRR model, maybe an inch, depending on where the bands persist, right? And then as you get out towards northeastern areas of Porter County, we're talking much higher totals where we go from an inch perhaps in Valpo, you get up towards the county line and we're talking 4 or 5 inches in a hurry. And that tends to be pretty common in some of our lake effect events. Our other models, the NAM Nest, I think this one's had a good handle on this as well. We'll go through time and see where it sets up that main band. And I haven't looked at this model yet, but you can see it has that main band developing over the next couple hours. So there you go. Snow shower activity elsewhere. Even Lake County may get a little bit of snow shower activity, but not a big deal for Lake County. Still thinking that. But areas of Porter County get some decent snow showers tonight. There's Stark County involved in there and LaPorte County as well. And you notice how that main band never really makes it into the region in terms of the NAM Nest. It kind of stays east. And it's kind of picked up on this over the last couple runs as well. And that once this event's kind of winding down later on tomorrow, it swings all the activity as a wind shift back into Porter and Lake County. So that would be tomorrow night. If this verifies, I could see that happening before things wind down. Again, I don't think we're going to get robust totals out of this from that shift, but we could bring some light accumulations into areas of Lake County as well, maybe northern Newton and Jasper County. So that's kind of where we stand with that. In terms of snowfall accumulation from the NAM Nest, it's a little bit less than the HRRR, but you can see as we go through time, the trend is the same. Heavier amounts where that main band is up towards Michigan, and then you get into the region and you can see it's got kind of a striped nature to it where we get, you know, maybe a chunk of 2 to 4, maybe a chunk of 3 to 6, and in between there's not much snow. And again, that's how it goes. Lake effect snow is impossible to predict. I will tell you that right now. We have good model runs, good consensus that we're going to have some kind of lake effect snow event. It's already occurring. So I can pretty confidently say 3 to 6 inches is going to be almost guaranteed for areas of LaPorte County. But in terms of nailing down exactly where those really high snowfall amounts are, that's absolutely impossible to predict. It all depends on where that little fickle band ends up developing and where it ends up traveling to. So you can see the model here indicating Porter County gets a little bit more. They're going 3 to 6 for areas of Porter County. That's because it brings that band in. Remember, it's all about where that band develops and where it moves into. And then you see areas of LaPorte County, we vary from anywhere from 2 inches to up to 6 or 7. So that's kind of how it's going to go the rest of the evening. Just a reminder on our webpage, regionweather.com, if you go up to this little clicky thing here, we do have our traffic cams up and running. I'll look into adding a couple more here, especially out in the snow belt. But as you go into that, you can always click on what the current conditions are from our INDOT cams. We'll look at the Chesterton one. We did have some snowflakes flying in Chesterton, but kind of hard to see there at night. But there's a little coating on the ground from some of that. So that's really what we're dealing with now. We'll go ahead and open it up to questions. And we'll say hi to some of you guys as well. I don't have my comment screen up. But it does look like we are going to get some snow tonight, mainly Porter County and especially LaPorte County, and then Stark County as well are going to get into some totals that are going to be manageable. But again, the timing of this coincides with the morning rush hour. We may have ongoing lake effect snow for that evening rush hour tomorrow, but that morning rush hour does look impacted, especially in LaPorte County. And we'll see about Porter County. Depends on if everything kind of squeezes on in. All right. So that's what we're dealing with. And again, if you have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and ask. Jason, thank you for that. Dorothy's asking about time frame for unincorporated Valpo. You've probably seen some flurries now, Dorothy. I think over the next couple hours, we'll start to see more snow shower activity move in. And then it's really overnight tonight that I don't think anything gets crazy in Valpo. I think the bulk of it will stay off to your east tonight. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on that main band. If that develops in Michigan, I don't see it yet, but if it develops in Michigan and kind of works its way into LaPorte County, does it swing over towards Valpo tomorrow? That's going to be a great question to answer. So we'll see about that. Max, you're absolutely welcome. Thank you, buddy. JD, you're welcome as well. I hope this helps for sure. I did get a Facebook message earlier asking about Region Weather merch. We are still working on it. I promise. We've got some designs made now. So if you're craving a Region Weather hoodie, just sit tight. And I've also want to thank everyone that's reached out about sponsorship as well. We've had several companies reach out in terms of promoting stuff and keeping all this free. I get it. But again, I do this as a hobby and I love you guys. And, I grew up in, the region in terms of my first meteorology job. So we always like you guys. Nothing in Wheatfield, says Charlene. Yeah, not a lot in Wheatfield, Charlene. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a big event. May see some snow showers out of this, but that's about it. Mello's asking about Lake County. Mello, we covered a little bit earlier, but I understand you're probably just joining. I don't think a lot in Lake County. We'll have to see really later on tomorrow if everything kind of pivots your way. I'm not anticipating big totals out of Lake County. Maybe an inch or two at best as of right now. But I've been burned by lake effect before. I know a lot better as a meteorologist with my experience to never guarantee lake effect because it is as fickle as the wind. And when I say that, it really is as fickle as the wind. If the wind changes direction just a little bit at one certain time, it can certainly blow that snow band elsewhere. Dorothy, you're absolutely welcome. Tom, great question. Monday, Tuesday period looking snowy. And you're absolutely welcome for that. Tom, we get into this setup starting actually after this event, after this Arctic air moves in, which it is. We get into this setup where we're going to have several clipper systems, Alberta clippers. They don't typically bring a lot of snow, but we've got a couple of them that may have more Pacific moisture with them that we could squeeze out a 2 to 4 incher maybe, or a 1 to 2 incher real quick, as we do with Alberta clippers. So we'll have to keep an eye on those. The models really are not in agreement on them. You see the model we're looking at right here actually brings some snow in this weekend. Most of that looks to stay kind of off towards the north and kind of brush us. But it's real interesting because the models are really going to flip back and forth on these clippers because they're such small systems and they're very quick movers and they're not even on shore yet. So over the next couple of days, we'll have a better idea of how or where they travel and how much snow they are capable of producing. So we certainly could. Certainly could. All right. Let's see. This is a good question. Jenny says, which area is expecting to see more? Porter County, Coast. I can't even say that county name, or Fulton County. Porter County. Well, that's tough. I would say Porter County out of the three, Jenny. Again, the other two are outside of my viewing area, and they always have been. I've always forecasted for the 6 counties here in Northwest Indiana. So I can't say I have a real good handle on the forecast for the other two. But again, Porter County is not going to see big totals. If you're in northeastern half of Porter County, as you get towards the LaPorte County line, you most certainly see some higher totals over the other areas for sure. Dorothy asked about school closings. LaPorte County can handle snow, all right? No stranger to lake effect, right? I think it's not just due to how fast it may fall, because I think we've seen higher snowfall rates than this, Dorothy. I think it's going to be more so the timing of this. So if we get that main lake effect band into LaPorte County 4 a.m., right? Superintendents are the ones making the decisions probably between 3 and 4 o'clock. I would guess they wake up and look outside. If we get this thing in here at 4 a.m., that's going to be a really tough call for school in the morning. If this band doesn't develop and we just see general snow shower activity, I think it'll be manageable enough to have school to go about our business. It'll probably be slow travel in the morning. But again, this is not going to be a crippling event, all right? The only thing I think that would cancel school, especially for LaPorte County, maybe Porter County if it gets there, is going to be that heavy lake effect snow band that's putting down 1 inch an hour. If that does not develop, it's just going to be snow shower activity like we're seeing towards South Bend right now, okay? I hope that helps. Ben asks, what are your thoughts on accumulation in northern Lake County overnight, like Hammond, Griffith area? Ben, I don't think much. I really don't. I think we'll see snow shower activity. I think best case scenario, if you like the snow, we'd squeak out an inch overnight. Worst case scenario, we don't see much at all. We just see flurries. The thing we have to watch, wind is out of the north. So, all this focus, especially of my discussions on that main lake effect snow band coming out of Michigan once that develops. But we may, and I don't want to forget about it, we may have some additional bands that develop over Lake County or Porter County that would be less intense. They wouldn't be connected all the way up Lake Michigan. But, we may see some snow shower activity that may cause some slick spots tomorrow morning. Alice, that's a good question as well. Duration of the event done by 6 p.m. as the winter weather advisory states. I think the worst of it will be done tomorrow. And the Weather Service even said, I've been in contact with them over the last day or so, and they even said they may, depending on if that main snow band develops, they may end up upgrading to a winter storm warning, depending on the criteria, if we can squeeze out 6 inches or more of snow in areas of LaPorte County. So the advisory doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stay, but I know they have it through 6, and it does look like things should be winding down by then. That's probably when we'll see that snow band starting to shift back towards Lake and Porter County later today. Okay. A couple questions about Portage. Great questions. I think Portage is right on the line where we could squeeze out a couple inches from this at best. I think, again, the bulk of it's going to be out towards LaPorte County, but we'll have to keep an eye on that main band tonight into tomorrow morning. Where does that go? And does it develop? I've seen this on the modeling before where it doesn't develop, but that's going to be the main focus where the winds converge out of the lake. They make this really intense band of snow, and we'll keep you updated on that as well. All right. Adam saying started snowing in Westville. Yeah, great, Adam. Yep, you're seeing some of those snow showers work in now. Those should be pretty persistent for you in Westville, really overnight tonight. I think what you're seeing now should be pretty persistent. The odds are that everything just continues to kind of converge your way. So you may end up with some decent totals in Westville for sure. Tina asking about Monday and Tuesday. Some people ready for spring. So Monday and Thursday, Tina, those are all the Clipper systems that are coming in that we discussed just a couple minutes ago. And again, if any of you missed the beginning of this, we posted on our Facebook page. You can go back and watch from the beginning. You can fast forward and do all that stuff as well. Okay. Jamie saying LaPorte and Michigan City schools have already called e-learning days for tomorrow. Thanks for that update, Jamie, for sure. LaPorte, I think that would be a good call, especially because we've learned due to the pandemic that we can do virtual, right? So it might be a good call for them. Michigan City as well. They're in the same boat as LaPorte for sure. Chris asks, do stronger winds dump the snow in southern counties versus weaker winds closer to shore? Chris, you got it, buddy. Yeah, absolutely. If we have a really strong fetch over the lake and a real strong wind, it takes that moisture and it dumps it further inland. So on real windy events, like we've got a decent wind now. So you'll notice those snow bands go all the way down into Stark County, right? And they go even further than that. Even some of these snow bands could reach down towards Indianapolis, right? It typically doesn't dump the amounts that it does closer to the lake shore, but you can certainly crank out some lake effect snow well inland based on a strong wind. Whereas if you have a lighter wind, but you still have that cold air coming across the lake, you can get a more localized snow band. It also depends not just at the surface what the wind is. It's all about the stacks of the atmosphere. Remember, our atmosphere is like a big cake. It's a bunch of layers to it. So those winds all have to line up at different levels to get that really intense band. And we usually look for convergence, which is the wind coming together with that. Heather asking about Valparaiso. What are we thinking for that? We covered that a little bit earlier, and I see Jeff trying to answer that. I appreciate that. For Valpo, as of right now, most of the modeling has very light amounts. My gut, and I said this yesterday, is for a 1 to 3, maybe 4 in Valpo. And keep in mind, I did say 1. All right. I know anytime we say like 1 to 3, people are like, you didn't get 3 inches, but it's always a range. And that all depends on if everything kind of shifts at the end of the event over, or if we get the snow shower activity in Valpo tonight. This particular model here, this is the NAM Nest. This has got some real good totals over Valpo, like 3 to 5 inches. So if we get that band to shift over and we get the heavier snow in the morning, I could see that. But as of right now, I do think most of the activities in LaPorte County, Porter County gets some, but not as much as LaPorte, and then LaPorte not as much as Michigan. So that's kind of what we're looking at, okay? Jenny asking about 49 north of 30, look to be yucky in the morning. Jenny, I think so. I think that's going to be one of our target locations for sure. So Again, I keep saying this, it depends on that main band, right? Because we can handle what we've got now. It's a general light to moderate, occasionally moderate snow that's falling in LaPorte and then out towards South Bend. We could handle that. That would put down a couple inches overnight, but it would be manageable. What would be tough to manage would be that main organized band of snow that the models have been picking up on, that I don't see any reason why it wouldn't develop. We've got good convergence on the lake. That would be the one that would make things really messy in the morning. And that's my concern. And I think the Weather Service as well with the winter weather advisories. Again, where does that develop? Where does that go? Because that's going to be a 5 to 10 mile little area that picks up some very heavy snow, probably on the order of an inch an hour. And it's not going to stay put. It's going to kind of waffle around based on the wind. But that's what we'll have to watch for sure. Dorothy, you're absolutely welcome, Dorothy, for sure. Tina says, I got to take hubby to Gary Monday and Thursday. We go to Lafayette and catch because of surgery. Oh, well, I hope everything's okay, Tina. We'll be keeping an eye on those systems. Again, those systems that come in from the northwest, those clipper systems, typically put down a quick layer of snow. They continue to bring the cold air in, and we're looking at a couple of them this week. So there's a couple shots at some snow this week. It just depends on the track of those lows. And right now they're not being sampled because they're not quite on the lower 48 yet, right? That's where our sensors are. Jeremy, thank you for that. Yeah, we've got some light snow in Valpo now for sure. Yeah, the bulk of it's east of you still, but Porter County is getting into some light snow. And again, we may overimpress if we keep that light snow going and we get a little bit of a fetch coming into Porter, even Lake County. We could get some snow overnight tonight that adds up to a couple inches. But again, my gut says the totals are going to be lighter for Porter County with a couple inches, and then out towards LaPorte County, I think we get the heavier stuff. And then so that's just the base for everything. And then wherever that heavy band goes, that's where we're going to, add some bonus flakes. So that's kind of how it goes from right now. Chris, thanks for the update. Appreciate that. Bigger flakes on my back porch. And Max is reporting a moderate snow in Valpo right now. Let's go back. I don't think I closed it here. We'll go back to this real quick, and then I'll let you guys go after this. Here we go. We'll go back to our radar here, and we'll pull this up. Now, if you guys are looking at radar, just an FYI there, you can pick your site. So this is from Radar Scope, right? That's what I prefer. But there's a lot of radars that you can use, or radar apps that you can use. And there's also a lot of radars you can use as well. So this is a Northern Indiana radar that I'm using. Keep in mind, if you use Chicago's, they're in a different mode right now. So it's not showing a lot of the snow in Northwest Indiana. And it's loading here, so it'll just take a second. But oftentimes, the radar that's furthest away doesn't always pick up all the lake effect snow. And we really don't get a good read on lake effect snow in the region because we're kind of in a radar hole where one radar covers us a little bit and the other radar covers us a little bit, and you kind of have to switch back and forth. So this is the Chicago radar, and you notice how we're just seeing some light flurry activity. You can see there is a shade of blue on there, but overall that's not depicting anything noteworthy at all. Whereas you go towards the Northern Indiana radar, which I would recommend using, and you get a pretty good read of the lake effect snow. Keep in mind with lake effect snow, it's usually at the lower levels. This isn't like a thunderstorm where it's falling from 10,000 feet up in the sky, whatever it happens to be. It's very low level moisture, right? So if you get a radar in the curvature of the earth, that radar is shooting above into the clouds, so it's not picking up on that snow sometimes. Whereas the Northern Indiana radar is shooting right into where that snow's falling, so we get a pretty good read of this. So Porter County, we don't always get the best read on how much snow is falling from the sky. Whereas closer to the radar, you notice these brighter colors here. We're getting a real good read of what these snow bands look like, right? So Porter County is kind of it goes from Porter into Jasper County. This area right here is kind of an area where we don't always get a good read on radar on what precip's falling. Sometimes with thunderstorms, we don't get a good read, although those are higher up. But mainly these low-level precip events, we don't always see it very well. But you can see we've got some decent banding developing now. And again, these will put down, a half inch to an inch where they stay for a little while. But the main stuff up towards the north, that's what we're going to continue to watch. And why don't we, just for kicks, before I let you go here, head up into areas of Michigan. We'll look at the Grand Rapids radar because this is kind of a precursor of what's to come tonight. They've got a little bit more development up here in terms of that lake effect. And this is where that main band is expected to develop and kind of work its way south across the lake. So you can see this is probably what the models are picking up on. It doesn't look that well developed, but trust me, it is, because it goes way out over the lake. So it's got a longer fetch. And again, that would likely come into this area now and then eventually swing and kind of pivot down across the lakeshore tonight. But I'll tell you, these bands are looking pretty persistent out towards South Bend as well. The same snow that's falling in areas of LaPorte County. We got that report out of Westville. So, again, this could add up over time. You get occasional light to moderate snow, and that would add up. So in terms of totals, again, here's what I'm thinking. I think the highest totals are going to fall right in here, well, then up into Michigan, but in terms of our area. And then I think our secondary totals that are probably on the 2 to 4 inch range are going to fall somewhere in there. So heaviest in here, and then still some decent amounts in here. And then, we may have to extend it a little bit further south. Again, Stark County, the modeling didn't pick up on it, but I think they'll run a good 2 to 4 out of this for sure. Okay. All right. I hope that helps. I appreciate you guys for sure joining us this evening. You guys ask great questions. I love it. Eileen, thanks for that comment on our YouTube channel, Light Snow and Rolling Prairie right now on and off. And yeah, you're getting some decent chunks. When you get these little dark blue areas through, you get some real good flakes for a while. And then it kind of, we'll calm down for a second and you'll get another one as well. So that's what we're dealing with here this evening. All right. I hope for a snow day for those kids in LaPorte County tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but certainly hope this was helpful. And again, we'll have another update for you tomorrow morning, and we'll have probably nowcast updates where we'll post the radar, kind of what's going on with the radar and where that main snow band is. But anyway, stay warm. It's going to be cold for everyone else. If you're not in the snow belt, this is probably a really boring conversation. But for those that are going to deal with the lake effect snow today, certainly hope to help. All right.